Hello, my name is Kimberly, and for over 10 years I've worked as a laser technician and a medical esthetician, as well as an instructor and a manager in the industry. And I wanted to take a few minutes just to give you some top secret insider information that I think will make your experience with your medical esthetician a lot more enjoyable, and I think it will increase the likelihood of a really positive, amazing outcome with whatever you want to achieve. So, without further ado, I'm going to try to go very quickly through these points, but I hope you find it insightful and helpful. Point number one should be self-explanatory, but I'm going to say it anyway. You should enjoy your experience, and you deserve great treatment. What that means is, as much as things can be scary and sometimes painful when you're going to a medical esthetician, you should still have a rapport where you trust your medical esthetician, you feel comfortable. You also deserve the technical and logistical details being covered, such as all of your questions being answered and feeling no fear to ask questions, and having all of the surface area that you pay for be covered. If it's 2 passes, 2 complete passes over the area. So as much as it's self-explanatory, it's important to stress that you deserve a great treatment. You typically are paying a lot of money, and if you're investing in a schedule with your treatments, which you should be, typically for best results, nothing is one treatment, you're going to be paying a lot of money. Wherever you go, you should be enjoying the process, feeling honored and educated along the way. That's number one. Number two is logistical, but so important. It will save you time and your technician time. It will also have your medical esthetician love you all the more. Take your makeup off if you have the chance to do so. If you're coming into the clinic from home especially, don't put on any makeup. And if you can freshen up, please do, because why not? If you have moist towelettes and you're getting a Brazilian laser hair removal treatment, perhaps going to the restroom before your treatment and freshening up would be a wonderful thing to do. Although freshening is sometimes offered by the technician or esthetician, it's always appreciated if it's done promptly before but taken on independently. Anyway, you can freshen up. I used to do a Nd:YAG 1064 laser treatment on the soft palate to reduce snoring. And I always appreciated when breath was as fresh as a summer breeze. Even if I'm wearing a mask, it's something that is just a lovely touch when it's a spearminty experience. So that's number two. Please freshen up if you can. If you can't, no one is going to hold it against you, and professionalism comes first, but it's great when things are fresh. 3, read your before care and understand it. Ask any questions that you need to ask. Call your clinic if you need to call them, but please read the before care and go to a consultation. Those two go hand in hand. You can't get before care if you haven't met and been educated and had enough time to sufficiently prepare for whatever procedure. There are exceptions where you can wander in, sashay off the street and lay down and enjoy a treatment. But a lot of the more intensive processes, you need to be doing some sort of pre-care, and there are things you need to avoid, such as acids and blood thinners as medications, certain periods of time before your treatment. So go over your before care, understand it, go to a consultation, get clear about the vibe of your location that you're choosing, the people that you are working with. Make sure you're excited about the process. So, read the before care. Some people would walk in and they hadn't even read it if it was provided to them, and that was always disappointing. Number 4, in this industry, unfortunately, I've said it before, I'll say it again, there's a lot of the emperor's new clothes effect, which if you don't know that fable or that story, I'm not going to tell it now, but basically it's all about illusionary, or there can be in this industry the danger of illusions where someone can say that this is going to do this. Its capabilities are endless for this, and this. Of course it's going to deal exactly with your concern. That's what it's perfect for. But if something doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, and it probably does not make sense. In reality, do not pay your money. There should be a linear cause and effect from what a machine is doing and providing, which is easily explained and researched, to the tissue effect, the soft tissue effect on whatever area you're treating. And I'm speaking about thermal and chemical effects right now with the skin in particular. There are lots of treatments that you can choose, some involving lots of different areas of the body, but you should understand what is happening and why. And if you don't, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. An example I'd like to give to stress this point is I often hear microdermabrasion being sold for everything and anything that could be a concern with the skin, one of them being deep pocketed acne scarring. And when you think about the actual physiology of the skin with a deep scar and the fact that there's that indentation, that divot in the tissue, there is nothing that microdermabrasion is providing as an exfoliating and a mechanical exfoliation that is actually replacing tissue or ever going to be able to scrape down so far without drawing blood or needing there to be some healing process and re-epithelialization. Ha! It's funny that I couldn't say that because I was trying to be fancy. There needs to be re-epithelialization if you're going to get any sort of collagen remodeling. So how is microdermabrasion going to cure your or even diminish in any real way your acne scarring? It's probably not. And so I really feel empathetic and concerned about how things can be sold to people and all the money that can be spent when, if it doesn't make sense, it probably doesn't make sense. It's easy to find out if it makes sense. Cause, effect. You should be able to very clearly explain your own treatment processes to yourself. Which moves to the next point, pain. Pain is something where, as progress is rapidly and readily happening in the industry, pain will probably reduce naturally and in reality. But right now, as far as I know, there are very few, if any, procedures that are completely free of sensation. And I don't mean pain in the truest form. I mean, a lot of them do involve this balance of comfortable pain. It's rare to have anything be near intolerable, but you should be feeling a sensation, even if it's simply heat or tingling. But I would say no sensation, no effect, 9 times out of 10. If you are feeling so comfortable that you're ready to go to sleep, and again, there are exceptions to this rule, such as the oxygen facial, certain types of microdermabrasion, but if you are feeling no sensation that is active, I would ask why and then be able to say you understand clearly why you're not feeling any sensation. That's important. Also, in the same vein, if you're expecting big results, expect your treatment to produce side effects, downtime, some sort of noticeable post-treatment endpoint or effect. If you're not slightly red, if you're not slightly tingly, if your pigment is not darker at least slightly, if your vessel is not darker at least slightly or reduced or blanched and gone, if your tattoo is not pinpoint bleeding, and now I am speaking generally, you should be able to answer all of these questions once you've gotten the information about your specific treatment program, but there should be a side effect. If there's not, I find that a little bit odd, and you should too. No pain, tiny bit odd, I have a question mark. No effect post-treatment, nothing, no downtime whatsoever. I again have a few question marks. Okay, the next point that is very, very important. One of the most counterintuitive, in fact, points about all of this that rarely comes up in conversations about elective surgeries and cosmetic procedures and the world of laser and medical aesthetics. Hello, Benny. In general, things can go wrong, and they do go wrong. So you really want to have a duality in your mind when you're entering into these processes, understanding and resigning yourself to one real school of thought that needs to be reckoned with, which is that the result may not look like what you wanted it to or what you expected it to. You may get no result at all, and things may go wrong. Oh gosh, like that. This is so bizarre. And then it zoomed. Okay, and Benny jumped off. Gosh, chaos. Anyway, So that has to be a part of the mind, as well as commitment to a wonderful result, the exact result that you were envisioning for some time, the answer to a dream that you entered into with a medical esthetician. Not to be dramatic, but really things can go so right, but they can and sometimes do go wrong. I prided myself on being a diligent, informed, educated, compassionate, empathetic professional. And there would be times that things would go in a direction that I didn't expect. Thankfully, experience would clean up a lot of those wildfires of just something going wrong. But not all of them, and not always. And sometimes things go wrong. I don't want to scare you, but I do want to be very real. As a manager and as an educator, I would have the utmost compassion for my technicians as well, and not my technicians, but my team or my community. You always have the best of intentions. That should be a given, but when and if things go wrong, it's very frightening and upsetting, and it can shake you to your very core as a professional, but it's part of the name of the game. So there's a reckoning that needs to happen there. If you can't reckon yourself to that something might go wrong, I would wait, and I would work on really honoring and taking care of yourself, and honoring and appreciating the present and what you're working with. Before I move on to the next point, watch me not remember his name, and I'll put it up on the screen if I don't remember. Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum. I just read an article about Jeff Goldblum and his advice, his life advice that they asked him if he could give one piece was, and I quote, "Use what you have," end quote. So there's also that to look at, by the way, whenever you're making your choices. So I'm going to move on to the next point, which ties into my first point, where you deserve a great treatment, where you're educated, all the passes are done, every area that was supposed to be covered is, and you feel covered and taken care of. Another quick point is you should have fun. You should have a good time. You should enjoy the conversation. You should feel like you're among friends. And that may be something that you develop. It may not be there right away, but I do think it's important and a great thing to remember. It should not be a torture test, okay? The last and final point I'm going to make feels very elementary, because it is something that we should be proudly honoring throughout all our lives, our right to ask questions. But never be afraid, intimidated. It's an intimidating world. Don't worry. We know, as people who work in these medical clinics or hospitals or dermatology centers, it is an intimidating environment, even for us sometimes. We get it. You can ask questions, ask as many questions as you'd like. The tail end to that is be willing to ask questions, and also be willing to do research. But in the same vein, understand that so much research is, you know what, actually, sorry, I'm going to splice these points because I realize I'm getting a little bit confuddled. So asking questions is good. I'm tacking on a bonus piece of insider information that is very important and something that you want to hold dear, which is you want to remember that your information can be wrong. It's very challenging as a medical esthetician, as someone just working with people, when people come in with their tried and true, this machine is the best, why don't you have this machine is the best, I know it, I found out, this is the best, it is what it is, you're lying to me if you say you enjoy your machine more. There is truth only in the fact that if there was one machine that did it heads and tails better than the rest, that would be the machine that saturates the entire market, and there would be no other laser hair machines, collagen induction modules, Q-switch lasers that deal with tattoos, whatever, any example that you can think of. The market would be completely saturated by whatever just does it head and tails better than the rest. So there is opportunity for so many procedures, treatments to surprise you and dazzle you. Your research might be wrong. Also, if your technician or medical esthetician can explain to you clearly, or consultant can clearly explain to you the cause and effect and back that up with clinical evidence why you're going to the right place and why you're with the right people, try it on for size, see how it feels, because your information might not be correct. A lot of what you read about the industry online is straight up marketing. So that's that. I hope you found this insightful. It was a lot longer than I wanted it to be actually, but I appreciate you watching this video. If you like it, please like it, and please subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna start getting a lot more active, posting videos like this that are just chit chats, but also I have a few things I wanna talk about tutorial wise. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. See you soon.